Greetings, I'm Sakshi Raj, a legal intern at ubAdvocate under the guidance of Advocate Jivan Prakash Sir, AOR Supreme Court. And today I'm going to discuss a really sensitive topic, that is female feticide and infanticide, a dark reality. So, as we all know, extreme poverty and inability to afford to raise children are among the few causes. A deep rooted cultural preference for the boy child in an Indian orthodox family is the core reason for female feticide and infanticide in India, and this is apparent from the declining sex ratios as well. Now, moving on to what is female feticide. The term refers to selective abortion of female fetuses. Ultrasound uses high frequency sound waves to produce an image of the baby in the mother's uterus. This is also the misuse of advancement in scientific technologies. Scans are typically done twice during the pregnancy, but the one done between 18th to 22nd week of pregnancy can determine the gender of the baby. And if the baby is a girl, the fetus is aborted. And what is female infanticide? Female infanticide is the intentional killing of the baby girl after the birth. So, what are the main causes or reasons? So, the main causes of female feticide and infanticides are obsession for son in typical Indian families, then fear of dowry by many poor class families. Girls are also considered as financial obligations by many parents. Advancement in technologies. Nowadays, parents determine the sex of a child before birth, and some of the doctors do this heinous act to fulfill their monetary desires. And what are the consequences to this? The consequences are decrease in female population, adverse effect on women's health, physically, mentally, as well as emotionally. Women are abused and sexually exploited. It also leads to women trafficking, as women are more vulnerable. Uh, then, alarming suicide rates. So, what are the legal initiatives to curb female feticide and infanticides? So, the government has introduced these three acts: the Prenatal Diagnostic Test Act, PNDT Act, the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, and the Dowry Prohibition Act. We are going to discuss this in brief. So, what does the PNDT Act says? The Prenatal Diagnostic Test Act, PNDT Act of 1944, was enacted in the year 1994 in all the states in India, but it came into force in the year 1996. Through this act, the use of prenatal diagnostic technique is prohibited as well as regulated. PNDT Act was amended in 2003 with its main aim to ban the use of sex selection techniques as well as the misuse of prenatal diagnostic techniques for sex selective abortions. Also, more than 21,600 centers conducting prenatal diagnostic procedure has been registered. The Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971. This act was enacted by the Indian Parliament in the year 1971 but came into force in 1972. As per India's abortion laws, only qualified doctors under stipulated conditions can perform abortion on a woman in an approved clinic or hospital. The Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act of India clearly states the conditions under which a pregnancy can be ended or aborted. And the third was the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961. This act prohibits the request, payment, or acceptance of a dowry demanded or given as a precondition for a marriage. Asking or giving of dowry can be punished by an imprisonment of up to 6 months or a fine of up to rupees 5,000. Indian government has also modified the property inheritance law and has permitted daughters to claim equal rights to their parental property. Hence, I would like to conclude by saying that we, as educated and aware citizens, can bring a change. So, to bring the change, the government should implement stern policies against this by removing the child sex recognizing centers and banning their licenses. The family who are involved in this act should be punished uh, by fine with or imprisonment for minimum of 2 years or both. Then higher status should be provided to women in the high profile jobs and including special reservation policies for women. High education should be provided to women so that they can take decisions for their own benefits. Thank you.